And welcome to Pulp Mythos. My name is Brian, and I'm here with Spencer, and we're going to be discussing Big Sky Season 2, Episode number 5, Mother Nurture. If you've not hit that sub button, please do so. Leave a comment, leave a like. And this review is going to be a little interesting because I didn't watch it alone. I typically watch Big Sky by myself late in the evening. I watched it with Spencer. We actually were in person. We hung out and watched it together. I've never watched an episode of Big Sky with somebody, so that was entertaining. A live commentary. But I did not take notes like I typically do. I did jot down, I have somewhat of an outline, but if I miss anything substantial and you remember it, Spencer, I'm talking to you. Just remind me. Because I didn't go back through I considered going back through the episode, and I was just like, no, I'm not doing that. But I think I got everything.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we shall. So we'll start with where we left off. So there was a break. Well, how many? Like 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
I want to say the World Series was the initial reason, but I can't think of another reason.
Yeah, they took a little bit of a break, but it left off with one hell of a cliffhanger where basically everybody all were in one area. Donna was trying to kill Cassie and Jenny. We had the kids all plotting to free, I forget the one kid. Harvey, Sheriff Harvey was plotting. You had Ren.
Bridgerton?
Bridger. Yeah, it's Bridger. You had Ren plotting to kill Harvey. I mean, it was some crazy shit. So basically, everything pretty much resolved with the exception of Harvey is now dead. Killed by creepy Van Woods guy. So that, yeah, everything else sort of resolved. But that we've been speculating that the Woods creepy guy was there to help, and it seems that is the case. And like Harp was pointing it out to Max, she's like, "Look, he saved us," but now we have a dead cop, and so that definitely escalates things within the police department.
Well, and they still. Sorry, the dog's like trying to sit in our laps. Cooper's just. There's not enough space on the couch, so she's trying to make space. But they, I look at, the creepy woods guy. He's still around, so I don't remember his name. They said his name, but I think it's like Cleary or Creary, I think.
The Woods guy.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, okay."
Oh, I don't know. I found his name on IMDb. So
maybe I don't remember, but
yeah,
he did get stabbed. He did get stabbed.
Yeah, he got stabbed pretty good there. But with it, I think that he will at least find out what his intentions were. But because him living, I think the only important reason for him to live is to find out why he helped them. I don't think that his character is super important, but I do find it interesting to find out why he's helping them. Like, what the end game is. I still am somewhat convinced he's just a living off the land, kind of off the grid, and he kind of has seen what Ren and the syndicate's doing, and he's anti that. But I can't think of another reason why.
I like to think he's a Canadian special agent who's deep cover, and he's there to take down the syndicate. But yeah, well, like you said, I think you're right. He's just one of those guys that lives off the grid, and he stumbled on some stuff, and he's trying to help. I think the most shocking thing about the entire episode was the turn with Tanya. She's basically wants to join Ren and Dono and the crew, and basically, her boyfriend's dead and her job's shitty. She's like, she doesn't want to work at the diner anymore. And she's like, look, you guys are running this crime thing. I'm down, And so, it was interesting. It makes sense in that, first of all, anybody who's going to date, was it Big Sam?
Yeah.
Was already a sketchy person. But it was odd that she was sort of working with them last week, or not last week, but in episode 4, she was sort of sticking to their story, and I thought that was weird. But now knowing, she was doing it because she was trying to, I guess, become a part of them.
Well, and it's, in that size of a town, she clearly was already with probably one of the sketchiest or sketchier people within that town. And on top of that, she was aware of what he was doing. So it doesn't necessarily mean she was complicit, but she also she just kind of went along with it. So her her flipping, I was curious whether or not she's trying to play him, just set them up or help them out or work with the cops. But uh, Cassie, they're still looking for her. Like they don't know where she is. So my initial assumption was that she was, playing the double agent kind of thing, trying to help. But if she was, then Cassie and them would have at least had an idea of where she was.
Max has a huge, just sort of breakdown moment where everything's finally getting to her. And, the scene, there were several scenes where I think we were talking while we were watching, and I was like, that was well written. Like, that was a very well written scene. But in this particular scene, she wanted to tell her mom. She's just like, look, this is, shit's going crazy. This is what's happening. She's seen how many deaths now? Like 2 or 3 people killed in front of her. So it's finally getting to her, and to me, it was a genuine sort of yes. At some point, uh, somebody being exposed to all that is possibly not. They're not going to be able to handle it, and they're going to break. Now we immediately was like, T-Lock, where's T-Lock? Is the mother going to tell what's going to happen? Is she going to call the police? Is she going to call Jenny and Cassie's little crew? Like, where does that story go?
According to IMDb, T-Lock is in the next episode.
You better
That's
be.
about T-Lock, but he seems to, like, the mom doesn't seem to have very much, I want to say control, but she's not very in control, I guess. Like her whole situation is just basically whatever her, I don't know, creepy, like, kid diddling, money stealing, drug selling boyfriend. She doesn't seem to care too much about what he's doing. So I think that if there's any kind of inclination that Max was doing something she shouldn't have been doing, or she was doing something that would benefit T-Lock, that the mom's going to tell. She doesn't seem to. Max's interest is not her number one priority. For whatever reason, it's T-Lock's.
Yeah, that seems to have been the case. It is interesting. He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't in this episode at all. I don't think was he in last week's. I can't remember.
I don't think so. He was in 1 through 3, and I remember the third episode when they were talking about the drugs, and they were in
Yeah.
that's the kiss episode.
The shed. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the last time we saw him.
Yeah.
So we have for several episodes. So Mark has been like, "Hey, I'm into Cassie," and he's been talking with Jerry, and there was a lot of Jerry in this episode, but it was odd in that it appears they're writing the character out, at least temporarily, if not, I don't think permanently. But it was weird. We have her father shows up, and he's just like, "Hey, your mom's dying," and we know that there was a bit of I guess they disown Jerry, and so she's struggling with that. We get several scenes, but then we get finally she's like, "Yeah, all right, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go." I don't know. There should have been more build up to this if they were gonna get rid of this character or even temporarily. But the main point was that her and Mark, Mark had been saying, he was into Cassie, but then Jerry clearly was into Mark. But she basically just is like, look, do you think we would ever have a thing? And instead of him just saying no, they kissed. So I don't know if they're setting up something where he will end up getting with Cassie, and then a little later, Jerry will return, and then you'll have this weird dynamic. I don't know, but it was strange because it felt like they were writing the character out of the show.
Yeah, and that's an odd direction to take because you don't really know why. She's been, I don't want to say important, but they've spent a lot of time developing her character. So now it feels like a waste if you're just going to kind of throw it away. And that almost feels like what they did. And like you said, you spend all this time setting up the her and Mark stuff just for her to kind of put all her cards out on the table, and then Mark be like, yeah, I would be interested. And then all of a sudden she leaves. So I don't know if that's going to spin off into, um, because just like last season, it was multiple, uh, like story arcs. If hers is going to spin into the second half of the story arc as opposed to, the first half. So I'm kind of curious if they're going to continue her story that way, or if she's just going to have like kind of a little side story for a minute, or if, like you said, she's just gone for a while. I don't know.
Yeah, it just sort of came out of nowhere, and it was all leading to her just leaving. And well, I mean, we had the two. I don't remember their names now, but we had the two sisters from season one. That remember we kept getting to a point where we were like, you know what? Once they get saved, they're not from there, so it doesn't make sense that they would stay on the show. And sure enough, they did. They wrote them out, and so I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the character, but
But that's why I
Ed,
was.
oh, go ahead.
Why would you spend all the time building up her character and saying that she gets her private, basically her private eye license and all these things to just write her off? So I hope that they're basically building whatever this is into a further story arc, or maybe just to expand more on her character alone. But to me, it would only irritate me because they spent so much time establishing so much of her character. It would feel like a giant waste. Whereas the two girls that were with her in season one, their story arc was just basically almost like a subplot to further the Ronald stuff. So Jerry has her own storyline now. So if you write her out, I, it would be irritating because it would feel like they wasted all that time.
Yeah, if she's a partner. Like now we've got this Mark thing going on. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if maybe um they have plans later in the season. I don't know. I mean, we've seen at several points this show sort of playing fast and loose with with everything. So maybe even some of the actors are like, I can't be there, or I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but as of it appears for now that Jerry is at least for now gone. Um. So what? Yeah. Do you think Mark's gonna go after Cassie?
I don't know, because he has shown that he's interested in her, and then not this episode, but the one before, they did mention before that Cassie was interested, but now it's just not a good time. She's got so much shit going on. So she was the one that was ready to go out for drinks. She was the one that was interested in Mark until shit kind of hit the fan at the end of season one, and then they just kind of put their relationship on pause. So for him to still express interest in her, it's odd for them not to have anything come to fruition. But once again, you have all this stuff that they're building with Jerry, just for what? Like, to just high five the masses, or
Yeah.
it just felt, I don't know. I hope that they don't, actually, just because I feel like the Jerry stuff would have been senseless, and I don't know, that it it wouldn't make sense. If they go forward with him in the Cassie storyline, I wouldn't like that. But if they just, him and Cassie are friends now, she wasn't interested, he wasn't looking at her like that anymore, then fine, that's cool. But I think if they pursue the relationship, it would really irritate me.
Yeah. I don't know where his character goes from here in any way, really, because I forget what is he? He's a marshal, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that the reason they brought him in initially was because of his sister was tied to the human trafficking stuff. So But now it's almost like that subplot went away. Like they brought in all the drugs, but now the human trafficking's not there. So, and now you have Ronald who's just living his odd captive life with old Wolfgang and stuff. And so it just seems very, I don't want to say very jumbled, disconjointed. Like everything feels like it's not going to make sense. And which is unfortunate because prior to the meandering storyline in the last episode and a half, I felt that it had very good direction. Like we had where it was going to go places, but this episode, as much as it was fun and there was a big shootout, I don't understand what the point of like half the episode was.
Getting to, well, yeah, I think for a while now, I said this about Jerry several episodes ago, and with Mark even, it felt like they didn't know what to do with the characters. You know what I mean? Like, and so they were just sort of like, well, you two are together now, hanging out, and he's been sidelined from the main plot. He's not really pursuing Ronald. He's not helping with the current case. Yeah. So,
which is unfortunate because I mean we talked about it, season 1 and the first couple episodes of this season that I don't care much for Cassie and Jenny being together. Although this episode, it felt, I don't want to say like there was more chemistry, but it felt less forced in this episode. And I don't know if that's just the dialogue was less hokey and cheesy or what, but this episode, their relationship was a lot more believable. It was a lot better. But to me, the best on-screen chemistry was Cassie and Mark. And now you basically wrote those two apart from each other. And that's disappointing.
I really wish, because at the end of the day, the show was, if I'm not mistaken, Cassie is the lead in the books, right? Because it's based off some books. And yet a lot of times she gets sidelined. And this is a good example of an episode. Like all the major plot lines, she's there, but not really. And you're right, there was a period where like she was around Mark a bunch and there was some cool stuff happening and she was sort of front and center. And so maybe they'll go back to that. Maybe they'll transition and go back, because they've been spending a lot of time with Jenny, and Jenny's fine, but I have to tell you, man, like when she goes into the police station and starts making all these demands, it's just funny because it's like, there's no way that you can get away with that. Like, half this stuff she's like, well, I want this done and that done. And like in this episode, her boss is just like, what the hell are you talking about? No.
Yeah. She's been an under sheriff for all of like 3 days, and she gets to call all the shots and tell her boss what she is and isn't doing. Like, that's not how normal things work. Not only is that not how normal things work, I would imagine that there's some politics involved in a sheriff in a small town kind of jobs, and she just is pissing in everybody's Cheerios, and it's just, I don't know. It seems like she wanted to be a sheriff because she felt like she could get more done that way, but then on top of that, she also is just making enemies with everyone. Like she's not really doing her PI job. She's also not doing her sheriff job very well. She's just kind of cheating in both of them, and she's going to either get herself in trouble or she's going to make an arrest, and it's going to end up being thrown out because she did her PI stuff instead of her sheriff stuff. And it's, I don't know. As far as the characters went, I actually enjoyed her more until she became a sheriff. When she became a sheriff, it became the most outlandish, wild shit. And although that's what this show's known for, so I can't be mad at it for that because that's the reason I watch it.
I'll skip to, I was going to save it for last, but we'll go ahead and do it now, and then we'll do the other thing for last. Travis. So this episode, so yet again, this was sort of just mind-blowing to me. The ending of the episode, I think it's Dietrich, like head mob guy, criminal guy in that area. Everybody knows he's snooping around. He goes outside to whatever, And Jenny and Cassie are like, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna tag behind him and see what he's up to. And the whole scene play. It was one of the more ridiculous scenes where it's like, what are you insane? And so, anyways, they end up getting to him. He's got a bunch of illegal guns, and they get guns drawn on them. And then Travis pops out, pulls a gun on them because he's undercover and he is like the right hand man of Dietrich. But the big sort of twist is he says they're cops. He exposes who they are. So what is this? Is he just still undercover and this is part of his plan? And he'll talk. He'll basically say, "Well, we have to let him go because they're cops. We can't kill cops." Like that's my thought, is that he's not really bad, or he is. What do you think?
Well, I don't necessarily disagree with the him being bad part, but on the same note, I think that him calling out the cop stuff was to help them. I think that whoever these people are, knowing they're cops. However, like Cassie being a PI, if she's the undersheriff in a town of 12 people, you would think that they would know who she was to begin with. So she, pokes her head around the corner, and all of a sudden it's like, "What? You mean you're the sheriff?" I don't know. It seems very hard for me to believe that flew under the radar. And given Jenny's history in that town, you got Dietrich, who's this, I don't know, badass crime boss person in a town. You would figure that he would know a couple people. So if Cassie's been this PI for a while, and she was a little bit newer because she was working with Ryan Felipe's character, newer.
Cody, dude.
Yeah, Cody. But Jenny had been a PI for a while, and she was a sheriff also. So not a sheriff, a deputy. But when you have these people who are well known, I would imagine that the crime boss would know who they were, and that was the part that got me a little bit, because it was very hard for me to believe that Dietrich, being this crime syndicate person, he had no idea who any of these people were.
Yeah. So let's get to there was a few revelations. Ronald. Let's get to our guy Ronald. So basically, the two things we learn. One, Wolfgang is he's not trying to help them really. Initially we thought, okay, he's trying to reform them, but no, he just wants to he wants Ronald to be able to, I guess, admit that he did all the bad things to clear the Legarski name, and or kill him. And the odd thing with this, I mean, that's not a huge. I mean, it is a big revelation, but it's like, whatever. The big thing though is Scarlett is like working with them. She thinks that they're trying to help them and that they're going to let them move up Alaska in a cabin or some shit. So that's the first big thing, and then of course we'll go into the other big thing. But yeah, any thoughts on that, especially the Scarlett stuff? Because at first I thought, well, maybe she's playing everybody, but I don't know.
I have a couple thoughts, but I was eating a cookie because I thought you were going to go longer.
What kind of cookie?
Oh, dude, Megan's boss made these. It's like a chocolate cookie, but it's those cookies that have the Hershey Kisses in the top of them.
Yeah,
like the peanut butter ones. So it's like a chocolate peanut butter cookie with a Hershey Kiss on top.
It's chocolate cookie or chocolate chip cookie?
No, chocolate peanut butter. So it's like chocolate and peanut butter with a Hershey Kiss on top.
Shit.
It's fucking amazing. But anyway, they what we're talking about? I had cookie.
Legarski, yeah, all that.
Scarlet, or not Scarlet. It is Scarlet, isn't it?
I think I wrote Scarlet down. I want to say it's Scarlet.
But Scarlet being on board, I don't want to say that it's brainwashed, but I think that she legit believes that they're trying to help her. And Ronald, I don't think that it's Ronald's not buying it. Ronald is just like, nope, I want to go do this. And I am curious if by the end of this, I don't think that Scarlett's going to make it. I think that Scarlett's going to end up dying and Ronald's going to escape, because to me, her character, as far as the storyline goes, is not really all that vital. Ronald has been trying to, I don't want to say keep a close eye on her, but he wants her to go with him. I mean, he genuinely cares for her, but I think at the end of the day, Ronald cares the most for himself. And I think that that's what's going to end up happening, is that she's going to not want to leave and he's going to be like, fuck it, peace out. And I think that he is going to leave Scarlett there with them. And I think at the end of that, either Wolfgang or the wife are going to kill Scarlett.
Do you think that Ronald, the show, needs Ronald? Like, he's sort of, he's been the overarching sort of villain since the very beginning. At first, we didn't, think a whole lot of him. Matter of fact, I didn't even know if he would survive. But that, as season 1 progressed, it became clear that no, he's a big part of the story. Every episode, there's a section, a Ronald section, to the point where it's Cassie and Jenny's show, but it's also sort of Ronald's show. You know what I mean? Those are sort of the trio that are the leads. And I was thinking about, I was like, if you get rid of him, if he died or whatever, would that hurt the show? Like, do you sort of need him now? Is he sort of etched into the show now that he has to be there?
I think that he doesn't have to be there. I do like his story. To me, his is the most fun story to watch, but I don't think that his is vital to the rest of the story going forward, because the way I look at it, you have the syndicate, but now they've already established who the syndicate was. So there's not that mystery anymore. You still have, Ren now, and you have Jaguar or whatever the fuck his name is.
I think it is, or something like that.
They called him Jag.
Jag, yeah. Ren's brother.
I just assume it's short for Jaguar or something.
I hope so.
God, that's so good. If the dad comes over the phone, just like, Jaguar, quit talking shit to Ronaldo or whatever.
Ren's short for Ronaldo.
Yeah. But they, I don't think that Ronald's story is vital.
What's Dono short for?
Donaldinho. Tillow.
Donald Sutherland.
Dono Tillow.
All right.
His parents were real country. They didn't say Donatello. It was
Donatello. That boy's good with a knife.
It sounds like something some hillbilly bullshit would do.
Yeah, we live in the South, by the way. Anyone who doesn't know, we.
Which would be even better if that was like they were really confused about the Ninja Turtles, and they named him Donatello. But instead of being good with like a bow staff, he's good with a knife.
Donatello. All right.
But yeah, I don't think that Ronald's vital, but neither was Rick Legarski, and they basically brought him back.
Yes,
in
he was.
Form.
The show went to shit when he left. Don't forget. After she beat the shit out of him with that hammer, we got stuck with the fucking toxic ranch story.
Yeah, that was something.
The crazy clown maze.
Yes, but that was it was so bad it was good.
Yes.
But I look at that as that's ABC's fault. That was not the creator's fault. They're just like, all right, well, you did have this 10 episode miniseries all lined up, but you're doing really good. So we're just going to give you 6 more episodes that you got to do in the spring. Figure that shit out. I'm like, wait, what? So yeah, I think that they just threw because like I said, the syndicate part's important, but you basically made the ranch where they have, I don't remember the daughter's name, but she was still, important. She was like, if you ever need anything, I know that we can always come to you now, blah, blah. So you made all these connection with that ranch story that all these people had Cassie's back. They had Jenny's back. They were going to be there for her. And now you basically have this new syndicate that's trying to run guns and everything else. And all these people that they made relationships in the first season with, they're just like, oh, well, fuck it. So that's the part that, when I get up in arms about the show, as much as I like how ridiculous it is, sometimes it's hard to keep track. It's, always guessing what's happening next is funny and it's fun, but it's also hard to keep track of the 92 stories and friends that they make and trying to keep track of which ones actually are important and matter.
And my final note, so we get a moment where Ronald has, they're doing hypnosis. Legarski's doing hypnosis on him, and Ronald digs into his deep consciousness and subconsciousness and finds that he was keeping a secret for his mother. That secret being she killed his father. We don't get any details. We get a quick little flash of it. But it's one of those like, yeah, that makes sense.
Nope. The more I thought about it, though, they don't show the mom killing the dad. I think that Ronald killed him.
Oh, you think Ronald? And she covered it up for him?
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't even realize that. Maybe that's something he'll discover through more hypnosis.
I don't think he knows that yet, because to me, everything that they were showing with the mom talking to him, because we watched the episode together and I didn't think about this until the other day. I think that when mom was telling him, you have all these bad things, go in your room and masturbate real quick, and like all these awful things that she's telling him, I think that she was doing it because she realized that he is an unstable human being. Like, she sees him as this, I don't want to say evil, but she sees him as an evil.
I could see that.
And, she covered it up. She's basically, I don't think she was belittling him. I think that she was a piece of shit, but I think that she was just trying to, I don't know, keep him under wraps the best she could. And, come to find out, he killed her too. So I think that he killed both of them.
That's a good theory. I like that. And I'm pretty positive that this particular storyline, whichever it is, they came up with it recently. Yeah, it was not part of the season 1 plan. I'm still not convinced that he was going to stick around through the whole season. It became one of those things where it just sort of worked, and then they were like, "Well, he's the guy now."
Oh, 100%. He was just a fan favorite, and they're like, "Well, let's just keep going with it."
Yeah. But yeah, so I think I covered everything. If I didn't, let us know in the comments. The Richard Cheney. Let us know. Yeah. Anything else?
The only thing I was going to say was the fact that, I keep wanting to say Rick now, Wolfgang is this like hypnosis master. You don't do that on fucking animals. So I know that he's like the dog whisperer or some shit.
Dude, he's a wolf whisperer.
Yeah, but
yeah.
But now I'm curious is if he's able to basically hypnotize Ronald as easily as he was, that I want to know more about Wolfgang's backstory. If he was prior military, if he was a psychologist, psychiatrist, like I want to know more as to how he became what he was. But once again, it's one of those things where I don't know that it's really all that important. I think they're just trying to reveal that.
Yeah, I doubt they thought it through.
Like it's one of those things where I think that it should be important, but they're not going to tell us.
Well, wait till he ends up getting killed, and then the Legarski's father comes out.
I'm telling you,
by the same actor.
Well, Dad Legarski is going to come back, played by Rick.
Dude, they'll just put some makeup on him to make him look older.
It'd be so good if it was.
I would not be against this. I would be completely okay with that.
Dude, I would love that if they just did like an American Horror Story with him. He just kept coming back as a different person.
I'd be okay with that. But yeah, because the show, like I said, when you took him out of the show, it definitely had a dip in quality there. Um, but our, yeah, we will continue these reviews. I don't know what their schedule is. It's always weird with Big Sky for whatever reason. So I'm assuming they're going to be taking a break soon because we're getting into the holiday season. A lot of shows take breaks.
Well, I know the show airs on what, Thursdays or Fridays? I don't remember really.
Thursdays, hits Hulu Fridays.
Yeah, so I think that Thanksgiving coming up, it's going to be off again. Not this week, but next week. But I'm not 100% sure.
But yeah, whenever one goes up, we'll do a review as soon as we can. This one's going up a little late, but that's how it goes. So yeah, we're doing the Dexter New Blood. Check those reviews out. And Wheel of Time is kicking off this weekend with 3 episodes. That's a lot to watch, but we will be doing a review of that at some point in the next several days. So look for that. But yeah, we appreciate everyone listening, and we will see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.